Where are we? Wow, this is very disorienting. We're actually in the soap studio, and for those of you who've never been in the soap studio, I finally get to stand up. So what are we making? We are making boot wax, boot conditioner, boot something. We've already had 2 massive snowstorms. Most of the country got hit by it, and very cold temperatures. And that leads to your boots being coated in salt or chemical ice melter. And you need to get that stuff off because it's drying and it will ruin your leather. And you can use this product for any leather. Don't use it on fake leather, only use it on real leather. So let's get started. What are you not going to use? What do you see in this picture you're not going to use? No paraffin. No paraffin. This is not the right product to use for this application. So, no paraffin. You also see glycerin. And in a lot of salves and balms, people have said, oh, use glycerin. It will attract moisture. Well, that might be right for your skin, but it's not right for a boot protecting product. So, there is one more thing you see here, and that is olive oil. If olive oil is the only oil you have, use it. Or if you can lay your hands on a bottle of it at fill in the blank dollar store, it's fine. But this is a cooking oil. This is a salad oil. Keep this for your food. So we'll get rid of this as well. So what are we left with? Well, we're left with beeswax, not paraffin. And I'm going to use castor oil. You can use coconut oil, but in much less proportion than this recipe calls for. And the recipe will be up on the side of the screen. What I have here is my trusty dusty crock pot, and I have my beeswax melting in the crock pot. I'm making 24 ounces. And so what I used was a half cup of beeswax. I'm going to use a half cup, I used a half cup of beef tallow, and they're melting here in the pot. And let's see, can we do this without burning me? Yes. You can see that it's kind of yellow in color because of the tallow. That lets me know that the tallow was grass-fed. It's probably, that's pretty expensive oil to use, but it's going to last a long time. So I have let this melt slowly so the beeswax and the tallow will incorporate together. And now we're going to add our castor oil. We're going to use 1 cup. We used a half cup. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Maybe I'm not going to sneeze. Okay, 1 cup. Here we go. So that's left in there dripping out is going on my hands and my skin because it's wintertime. All right, we're going to let this incorporate because the castor oil has caused all of the fat to seize up. The castor oil is at room temperature, and the fat and the wax was hotter. So it's caused it to seize up. So we're just going to let it sit in the crock pot and remelt. What we have here are a bunch of 2-ounce tins, and I prefer for my use, because some of these are going up on the website, I prefer the kind that actually has a screw top. It's not important now, but in the summertime, should this get heated, it will liquefy a little bit, and if I had tins that pulled apart, there is a chance that the product will spill out. Now, you may say, well, it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal, but in point of fact, anytime you heat oil, it expands. So you're going to see here in a minute that when you let it cool, it contracts. The other thing I want you to know about is when you pour, and this is not the best example. The best example would not be a rounded tip at all. It would be a pinch tip. Do I have an example? No, I don't. Not at my hand. Yes, I do. We're not gonna use this one. We're gonna use this one. See this pinch tip? This allows you to pour into something like this and have a drop down stream. Anything that has any kind of rounding, it's going to make your product roll down the bottom. And a Pyrex pitcher is the worst. You can still use it, you know, do what you got to do. But just a word to the wise. You can't really see it here. You can see it up on the top where it has solidified because it's not in a water bath. This will solidify pretty good, pretty quick. I'm going to take this out and put it aside, and I'm going to give this one last good stir because you want these oils and fats and wax to incorporate as well as possible. And even just an inch or two out of the water and it's congealing. So let's get it in our pouring vessel as quick as possible and get it into the tins. There's a line on the tin that's the maximum fill line that the manufacturer has put there so you'll know exactly where to fill it to. I will show you that in a minute, but you can see this is congealing already, so I want to get this in the tin as quickly as possible. And the kind of morning I had, I don't feel comfortable just pouring left to right. It's been a morning. And we're going to have to refill because we don't have enough in that one. So let's refill. And I didn't make enough for all the, even with the congealing, I didn't make enough for all the tins that I have. Although I did do the math. I promise you. I did the math. As it's congealing, look at how quickly it's, now it's still very soft. See, it's very soft, but it's congealed enough that this I'll just be scraping out and putting into an extra container. So there is our boot or leather conditioner. We're going to let it harden at room temperature, and I will show you the finished product. Well, before we go, where's the fill line on this? See this big bump? That's your fill line, and that corresponds right there. I can run my finger. It's the same all the way around where the threads are graduated. All right, I've zoomed you in a fair bit, and I'm just going to take on my fingers. You can use a chamois for this. You can use a paper towel. I'm going to take a piece of veg tanned leather that it's just a scrap piece, and let's try this again. What you're doing is you're conditioning your leather, you're putting in moisture that's not already there. I think on the next recipe of this I'm going to make it a little softer by adding more oil because the beef tallow really kind of firmed it up. But nevertheless, you can see not only does it darken the leather, that happens with all types of waxes and conditioners. Not only does it darken it, it also puts moisture into it. And I don't think I'm going to be able to do much more for that. Alright, now, can you see? If I tilt it a little bit, you can see it's much more moist than this end right here. See the difference? So there you have it. There is boot wax. I want to make one correction. I said that tallow hardened it up, and it did to a certain extent. But also I think the fact that I use straight castor oil may have contributed to that, in which case next time when I do this recipe I will be adding maybe half castor, half olive or grapeseed or some other natural oil. That's truly all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you real soon.